Welcome to HardScript.
Support the channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing. I promise even more interesting stories. It started with a laugh. Not hers or his. A deep, careless laugh I didn't recognize echoing from the Bluetooth speaker in her car, parked right outside our garage. She'd forgotten to disconnect it from her phone. I was standing in the kitchen, washing my hands, when it came through. Come on, babe. You know he doesn't get it. He never really saw you. Her voice followed. Soft. Almost guilty. Don't say that. But she didn't correct him. Didn't say he was wrong. Didn't say I did see her. That was the moment I knew something had shifted far deeper than I thought. Not an affair, maybe. Not yet. But betrayal? That was already echoing through my house. The door opened 5 minutes later. She walked in like nothing had happened. Shopping bags in hand. Lip gloss just fresh enough to suggest she'd reapplied in the car. I didn't say a word. Not yet. Just watched as she kissed my cheek, as if she didn't just let another man describe me as blind in my own home. I waited. Waited through dinner, through her stories about work, through a movie she didn't even finish watching. I watched her pretend everything was normal, while the echo of that voice burned like a brand in my chest. Then, when she finally went to bed, I stayed up. I sat on the couch and listened to that recording again. I hadn't meant to record it, but the home assistant caught it on the synced speaker. A glitch, maybe. Or a gift. That night, I didn't sleep. Not out of rage. Out of calculation. I wasn't going to confront her, not yet. That's what she'd expect. That's what all of them expect. An explosion. A fight. A breakdown. But not this time. This time, I wasn't going to raise my voice. I was going to raise the floor beneath my feet. The next morning, I smiled at her over coffee. She blinked, maybe surprised by the calm. But I knew the truth now. I wasn't being cheated on. I was being faded out. And that's the cruelest betrayal of all, not a cut, but a slow dissolve. The kind you don't notice until you realize you're already transparent. So I played along. Let her think I was still blind. Still loyal. Still the man who would never leave first. But she didn't know. That laugh? That sentence? It wasn't just a slip. It was a warning shot. And now I had my target. By the end of the week, I noticed something strange, her shoes. It sounds small. Insignificant. But it wasn't. She'd started wearing the beige heels again. The ones with the thin straps and quiet confidence. The ones she used to wear when she wanted to be noticed, not by me, by everyone else. And the perfume, new. Lighter, sharper. It didn't cling to me when we hugged. It floated past like I wasn't the one she wanted to impress anymore. She didn't know I was watching. She thought I was still asleep when she left in the mornings. But I'd been waking up 10 minutes earlier. Listening. Learning. She stopped taking the coffee I brewed for her. Said she'd get one on the way to work. I checked the trash bin after she left. Nothing. Not a single takeout cup. Whatever she was drinking, it wasn't coffee. And it wasn't with me. On Thursday, she came home late. Not work late. Deliberate late. The kind where you check your reflection twice before you enter, just in case there's guilt on your face. I asked if she wanted dinner. She said she already ate. I asked with who. She hesitated. Then smiled like it was harmless. A few people from work. I nodded, pretending not to notice the lipstick wasn't smudged. Pretending not to feel the shift in temperature around her every time she passed by. But I knew. She was practicing the exit. Not leaving yet. But mentally rehearsing it. Emotionally packing bags. Seeing if I'd break before she did. What she didn't realize was, I'd stopped playing her game 2 days ago. I was no longer waiting for her to stay. I was studying her absence. On Saturday, she planned a girls' brunch. Said it was important. Old friends, haven't seen them in years. I didn't argue. I waited 10 minutes after she left, then got in my car. Not to follow her, no. That would have meant I still needed confirmation. Instead, I drove to the storage unit I'd rented 3 days earlier. Inside, boxes. Labeled. Organized. Every important document. Every financial paper. The spare set of keys. I wasn't planning to leave. I was preparing for the moment she finally told the truth. And when she did it, I'd already be gone. Not with rage. Not with begging. With precision. That night, she came home smiling. Hair curled. Lips glossy. Not a trace of brunch energy left in her. She kissed my cheek and asked how my day was. I smiled back. And lied. Uneventful. It happened on a Tuesday. Quiet. Forgettable. The kind of day no one remembers, unless it's the one that breaks the illusion. I was picking up dry cleaning when I saw her. Not her in the physical sense. but her reflection, caught in the background of a video someone had shared on a community story. It was muted. No sound. Just visuals. A rooftop bar. Happy hour. She wasn't with coworkers. She was with him. The man from the recording. Same voice. Same crooked smile. Sitting too close. Laughing like nothing in the world could touch them. I paused the video. Watched it again. And again. She wasn't hiding. She wasn't ashamed. She looked relieved. I didn't get angry. There was no outburst. No shaking hands or broken glass. Just stillness. Not because I didn't care. Because I finally understood. She wasn't conflicted. She was rehearsed. Every smile. Every laugh. Every lie she told with steady eyes and soft tones was part of a performance. Not for me. For her exit strategy. That night, I laid the table for two. Cooked her favorite, lemon garlic chicken. Lit the candles. Played the playlist we used on our first anniversary. She came home, stepped inside, and froze. I watched her pupils dilate. Watched the confusion slide across her face like fog hitting glass. "What's all this?" she asked. I shrugged. Thought we could reconnect. She hesitated. Her body stiff. Her smile mechanical. I pulled out her chair. She sat. We ate. Small talk. Work. Weather. Upcoming bills. And the whole time, she never asked why now. Because deep down, she knew. This was a goodbye dinner in disguise. She reached for her wine. Her hand trembled, just barely. And that's when I whispered it. I saw the video. Her eyes snapped up. No denial. No question. Just a held breath. I didn't say anything else. I didn't have to. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Then stood. I didn't plan to hurt you. I nodded. But you did. She bit her lip. Looked away. I thought you'd already checked out. And there it was. The excuse. The rewritten memory. She wanted me to believe I was the one who left first. Emotionally. Mentally. As if that gave her license to move on before actually walking out. But I didn't argue. Didn't ask questions. Didn't cry. Just cleared the plates. She went upstairs without a word. Left the wine half full. The candle burning low. And as I rinsed the dishes, I realized. This wasn't heartbreak. This was data. Everything I needed to confirm what I already knew. She wasn't my partner anymore. She was my proof. And soon, she'd be my past. She didn't ask me anything the next morning. No questions. No explanations. Just moved through the house like a guest trying not to leave fingerprints. I watched her pack a bag. Not a suitcase this time. Just a canvas tote. A few clothes. Her laptop. Charger. Nothing sentimental. Like she was just stepping out for coffee, not walking away from a marriage. She lingered near the doorway for a moment, hand resting on the knob. Then she said it, almost like a reflex. "I'll check in later." I didn't nod. Didn't blink. Just stood there, silent. She hesitated, waiting for a response that never came. And then she was gone. No slam. No drama. Just a door clicking shut behind her. I waited 15 minutes before I moved. Not because I was paralyzed. Because I was planning. I started with the accounts. Passwords changed. Joint cards frozen. Access revoked. Not out of spite. Out of preservation. Next, I boxed up everything she left behind. Her scarves. Her books. The sweater she always stole from my side of the closet. I didn't burn it. I didn't smash anything. I just made space. Literal, emotional, digital space. By noon, the house felt different. Lighter. Still haunted, but at least by something that no longer pretended to love me. I deleted her Spotify from the home system. Removed her calendar from the sync devices. Unfollowed her silently on every platform. It wasn't rage. It was ritual. One by one, I erased the access points she used to be everywhere without being present. I didn't text her. Didn't tell her what I was doing. That was the old me. Informing, explaining, seeking fairness. But this wasn't about fairness. It was about finality. That evening, I stood in the backyard. The same spot we used to grill on weekends. Her laughter used to fill this space. Now, only the wind moved through it. I thought about how many times I'd begged her, silently or out loud, to meet me halfway, and how she stood still, expecting me to close the distance. Always. But not anymore. At 9 p.m., I turned off my phone for the night. No alerts. No temptation. Just quiet. I went to bed in a room that finally felt mine again. No trace of her perfume. No waiting for a door to creak open. No pretending this was temporary. That night, I slept deeply. Not peacefully. Not yet. But without weight. Because sometimes, the heaviest part of grief isn't the loss. It's the pretending it might still be saved. And I had stopped pretending. Day 5 passed with no word. No ping, no knock, no soft regret in the form of a text. And that told me everything. She wasn't waiting for me to chase. She was daring me not to. That morning, I found one of her notebooks in the drawer by the kitchen, half filled, like her efforts in our marriage. Quotes about growth, healing. Self-care isn't selfish, scrawled in the margin. I didn't tear it up. I didn't even read past the first few pages. I closed it, put it in the donation box by the door. Because the version of her who had time to quote Instagram therapy was not the version who ever listened to me when I said, I'm not okay. I made breakfast for myself and the kids. Just eggs and toast. No fancy pancakes or smoothies she used to post for clout. And the kids didn't ask where she was. They were adjusting. Faster than I had. Around noon, I took down a photo from the hallway. The last one we took as a family at the lake house. We were all smiling, but now I could see it. How her body angled slightly away from mine. The absence in her eyes. Funny how you only spot the cracks when you stop filling them yourself. I replaced the frame with a print I bought years ago and never hung. Just a mountain. Still. Unmoving. Solid. It made the hallway feel colder. But stronger. By evening, I noticed something strange. I hadn't thought about what she was doing all day. No mental reruns. No loops of imagined conversations. No wondering who she was with or if she missed me. That obsession was gone. Or maybe not gone, just muted. Like background noise I no longer felt responsible for hearing. That night, I opened a drawer she used to keep locked. It held a few journals, receipts, a dusty envelope marked "Do Not Open." So naturally I did. Inside was a list. Not of dreams, or goals, or anything romantic. It was a checklist. Things she needed to fix about me. Be more ambitious. Smile more in public. Stop overthinking everything. Be less intense with the kids. Make more money. I didn't get angry. I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because it proved something I'd only suspected before. She didn't fall out of love. She fell out of control. And she thought leaving would fix that. At midnight, I turned my phone back on. Not for her, for me. To delete every text thread we ever had. Not archive. Delete. Because this wasn't a pause. It was the end of a play where I was tired of reading a script that never gave me a voice. That night, I dreamed of silence. Not the kind that wounds. The kind that heals. It started around 3 a.m. The first voice message. I didn't open it. But I watched the waveform sit there, a ghost trying to speak. Then came a second. 30 seconds later. Another ping. Then another. All night, her silence unraveled into noise. Not rage. Not pleas. Just attempts. Different tones. Different angles. A woman rehearsing her emotions in real time. By morning, there were 7 new voice notes. I didn't listen to a single one. Because this wasn't about her voice anymore. It was about my peace. Still, I left the house. Took the kids to school early, even though it was my day off. Dropped them off with a calm I hadn't felt in months. No backpack check. No reminders. No tension. Just a clean goodbye. When I got home, I walked into what used to be our bedroom. It didn't feel like ours anymore. It felt like a showroom of who we pretended to be. So I stripped the bed, folded the sheets, tossed her pillows into a bag, and stored them in the attic. Then I opened the windows. Let the cold air flood the silence she tried to control. And I sat there, on the bare mattress, listening to nothing. Not because I was waiting, but because I was done waiting. That afternoon, her sister called. Said she'd been crying. Said she was a mess. Said maybe I should just talk to her. I asked a single question. Did she cry for what she did, or just because it didn't go her way? Silence. Then a sigh. Then she hung up. Later, another message came. This time just text. I didn't know how to say things back then. I do now. Please don't shut me out. That's when I realized the truth. She didn't regret what she did. She regretted not controlling how I responded. She thought I'd fold. Thought the quiet would crush me. But silence didn't kill me. It reintroduced me to the man I used to be before love became performance. That night, I made a small fire in the backyard. Threw in old photos. Not out of spite. Out of clarity. Because memories aren't proof. They're just records. And some records don't deserve to be played again. She left because she thought I'd beg. But I stayed quiet. And now she was talking to herself. By day 17, the shift wasn't just emotional. It was logistical. She stopped posting. No more yoga reels. No brunch selfies. No filtered quotes about healing. The performance paused, not because she was healing, but because she lost the script. Her silence had turned on her. I walked past her car that morning. Same parking spot. Same scent of her vanilla air freshener lingering when I opened the garage to grab a wrench. It hit me. She wasn't gone. She just removed her presence from me. But now, the distance was starting to bite her back. I'd changed the locks 2 days earlier. Not out of pettiness. Out of precision. She hadn't noticed yet. But she would. Because when people like her start spiraling, they check doors they used to own. Later that afternoon, I ran into her cousin at the gas station. He looked uncomfortable, shuffling receipts in his hand, pretending not to notice me. Then, a soft, hesitant, "She's not doing great, man." I said nothing. Just swiped my card and started pumping fuel. He added, "She said you're different. Colder. Like you don't care anymore." Still, I said nothing. Because he wasn't looking for my version of events, he was just relaying hers. And that's when I saw it, how well she played the role of the wronged woman. She hadn't told anyone the silence was her idea. Hadn't mentioned the 30-day trial separation was her design. She wanted them to think I vanished for no reason. That I gave up. She didn't say I endured 16 days of her pretending I didn't exist in our own home. Didn't say I heard her and her friends laughing about how I wouldn't last the week. No, she just handed them her version and waited for the sympathy to stack. But here's the thing about lies built on omission. They collapse under quiet truth. I didn't defend myself. Didn't explain. Didn't engage. I finished pumping gas. Nodded once. And drove off. Back home, the kids were drawing. Calm. Settled. My daughter handed me a paper with 4 stick figures. "Us," she said. I looked. One tall figure was standing apart from the others. I pointed. "Who's that?" She shrugged. "That's you. You look strong now." I didn't ask what that meant. I didn't have to. That night, I cleaned out the garage, boxed her things, labeled them, taped them shut, stacked them near the door like a quiet message waiting to be read. Not a threat, not an invitation, just a deadline. Day 20 was quiet, but not empty. That's how you know you've changed. When silence no longer screams, it breathes. I started that morning early. Coffee at 5 a.m., black, no sugar. The bitterness sat right where comfort used to be. I looked out the window while the house slept. The sun wasn't up yet, but the sky was hinting at something. Not hope, just movement. And that was enough. Around 7:42 a.m., I got an email from her. No subject line. Just, "Can we meet?" I didn't respond. Not to punish. To preserve. Because a man who's tasted peace doesn't gamble it on closure. She showed up 2 hours later anyway. Knocked once. Waited. I didn't open the door. I watched from the hallway, out of frame. She waited 5 minutes, maybe 6. Then slid something under the door. A handwritten note. No envelope. I left it there. Because anything she needed to say should have come when my silence was still full of questions, not now that it was full of answers. That evening, I took the kids to the park. We ran, laughed, bought ice cream. I sat on the bench while they played and realized I didn't feel like a man abandoned. I felt like a man recovering, a man recalibrating. When we got home, I noticed the note was gone. She must have come back while we were out. She'd taken it. Because that's who she was, never leaving things behind unless she knew who got the last word. I didn't check the cameras. I didn't call her. Instead, I started donating. Her clothes, her decorations, her scented candles that never matched the person she was when the cameras were off. By midnight, the bedroom looked different. Not better. Not worse. Just mine. And that was new. Then came the final move. I drafted a legal separation notice. Precise. Unemotional. Just facts and timelines. I left it in her inbox. No greeting. No sign-off. Just the same level of care she gave when she said, "I need space." The message was clear. The space she requested had grown teeth. She'd thought distance would be a pause. She didn't realize it would be her replacement. It came just after midnight. No subject. No greeting. Just a block of text. Like someone who couldn't sleep and hoped I couldn't either. I've been replaying everything. The nights you tried. The things I didn't say. I don't even know what I'm asking for. I just need you to know I hear the silence now. Every single day. And I deserve it. She signed it with her full name. Not love. Not yours. Just the woman she was before she ever met me. As if even she couldn't attach a feeling to what she'd become. I didn't reply. Not because I wanted to punish her. Because there was nothing left to say that hadn't already been said in my absence. Her silence lasted 2 weeks. Mine? Mine was never a mirror. It was a decision. A message of its own, carved in stillness, wrapped in finality. She used noise to keep power. I used silence to reclaim mine. That same morning, I signed a lease. Small apartment, near the coast. No furniture yet, just light. Space. Breathable air. I didn't take much. 2 bags. A chair I liked. A box of old tools. Left the rest behind. Memories don't need packing. The first night there, I made pasta. Simple. Butter, garlic, salt. No presentation. No second plate. I sat at the table. Poured wine. Not to celebrate. To mark it. The moment I returned to myself. No more buzz of unread messages. No held breath before checking a screen. No ghost haunting my own life. Later, I opened the email again. Read her words one last time. She said she heard the silence now. But what she really heard was distance. Permanent. Unyielding. Chosen. She thought she could leave and come back. That love was a faucet. Something she could shut off and expect to drip again when needed. But I wasn't waiting. I wasn't hoping. I wasn't even angry. I was done. And nothing's louder than a man who walks away and doesn't leave a door open behind him. Weeks passed. She kept writing. Not often, but just enough to test the lock. Sometimes a single word, please. Sometimes long, winding apologies dressed in poetry, like pain needed to rhyme to be forgiven. I opened none of them. Not out of cruelty. Out of clarity. Because I knew now, once you've rebuilt the floor beneath you, you don't invite back the earthquake. Meanwhile, my life stayed quiet. A cafe down the road gave me shifts. The contractor put me onto a client restoring antique cabinets. I took the job. My hands had calluses again. My sleep didn't come with a screen's glow. There were no updates to check. No buzz. No waiting. Just breath. One night, I sat on the balcony. Coffee. Quiet music. No tension. No wondering if my silence would be punished. Just stillness. Then, the last message. This will be the last time I write. I promise. I don't know if you're even reading these anymore. I just needed to say it. You were right to leave. I didn't see you until you were gone. Didn't value you until I couldn't reach you. Now I hear the silence even in my dreams. And I deserve it. She signed it with 2 initials. No name. No heart. Just an ending. I didn't reply. Didn't scream. Didn't forgive. Didn't reflect it back. I just closed the screen, stepped barefoot onto the cold floor, and walked outside. The beach was dark. The tide low. Waves came in without rhythm. Calm. Jagged. Indifferent. I let the water hit my feet. Cold. Real. Not to wash anything away, but to mark the fact that I'd stayed standing. She thought silence was weakness. That distance was something to weaponize. But she forgot. The loudest impact a man can make is walking away without turning around. Drop it in the comments. Hit subscribe. This is where we talk about what doesn't get forgiven.